and welcome to another episode of Liz on Biz. Here with me today is Dana Grant. Welcome to the show, Dana.
Hi, Liz. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm thrilled to have you. You're very cool and you're doing really exciting work in the world. So tell everybody, though, a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, let's see. I'm a master coach. I travel the world speaking and teaching and guiding and helping entrepreneurs, women, men. A lot of people, I coach men too. But I work with women. I just started a community. I do international retreats. I wrote a book. I just
Wow.
want to just encompass communities and connection to help people. That's
I
really what
love
I do.
it.
Yeah.
What do you coach around? Like, what would you say your clients are like?
I want to say everyone comes in, and I think this is true for anybody who coaches. If you're aligned and doing the work that you need to be doing in the world, the people that you're going to be coaching are about 2 to 3 years behind you, or five, depending on what their growth edge is. And you want to call that in. There's so many people coaching out there, and I don't use the word coach very much anymore. I use the word mentor a lot
Mm,
these days, but are pitching to their colleagues. And I'm like, no, 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 your colleagues don't need you.
yeah.
You need to focus on the people that are coming up that need you. And I would say it's a lot of imposter syndrome. They've created stories around limited beliefs. They're working through getting seen, being heard, um, stepping into their power, and really claiming who they are. And that goes with abundance. And of course, I wrote a book on universal laws and how to activate all of this.
Well, that idea of claiming, I feel like is the hardest thing for people
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And that can be because so I work with people around visibility with the work that I get to do, which is, branding and websites and copywriting and working on the messaging. And sometimes
And
I feel
what an
like,
essential part that is. Without
thank
that,
you.
I couldn't reach my audience. I mean, that is like a key
And
component.
it resonates with what you're saying because it's like when you say it's like it's like sometimes I'm like pushing them up the
Yeah.
hill a
Hmm.
little and I can be their
Yeah.
first cheerleader or
Yeah.
their first person that's like,
Yeah.
no, this is a thing. This is so
Yeah.
important. And like
Yeah.
I love to remind people that marketing is a service. And by existing and communicating all of the special things about them,
Yeah.
which I think good branding should do,
Yeah.
like it's just an extension of, your impact and all that. But
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like they have to claim it, like you're saying. So it's
Yeah.
like I can create it, but then you have to like rock that, you know?
Yeah.
Like you
Oh,
gotta like
absolutely. Well, it's so interesting you say that, Liz, because I started out and I wanted to do a podcast. I went out of co-founding the first ready-made pizza crust company, and then I went into coaching, and that was a decade ago. And I went right into building, marketing, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't healed enough. So I
yeah.
think there's a process because my podcast and the book, I didn't start that until 7 years after I said I was going to. I was not ready. Now, I wasn't ready to be seen. And I think this is the failure to want to be seen is I had a lot of healing to do first. So I identify that with a lot of women that come into this space. And I think you probably find that resistance, the push pull of like, you're there to get a job done and get them seen and connected. And they're not ready yet because they haven't connected with the part of them that is unhealed. Liz, I think you're frozen. Can you hear me? Hello?
Oh, hold on a second.
Okay.
One sec. I just got a message saying, don't worry, we have editors. I got a message saying I'm unstable. Let me fix it
Okay.
and see why. The good news is I heard everything you said though.
Oh, good.
Let me
Good.
just hit this button.
Yeah.
Let's see. Liz's MacBook Air. I have Google Home.
Ah.
We came back. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, you left and I stayed.
It like went, it just, I was mid talk and then it was like, brrr, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
oh,
you were gone and I thought, you know what? If this happened to
so
me, I think I'm
weird.
just gonna stay
No,
here.
I'm glad you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and we have people.
Yeah.
So people will fix
Good.
that. I would love to let me ask you this because
Huh?
I heard you talking about how you started a podcast and you weren't quite ready. Can
Yeah.
you tell me more about that time? That was 7
Yeah.
years ago, you said?
It was longer than that. It was in the beginning. So I want to say it
Yeah.
was 2016 and 2017. I hired someone to build my website, do a podcast. I didn't have lighting. I wasn't ready. I was not
Yeah.
ready. I wasn't healed enough to teach what it was I wanted to do, and I think that,
Whoa.
and then you get caught in overwhelm. And I think that a lot of people are caught in the overwhelm and then they do the act of comparison. They're looking out there. There are people that come on board and want to be where I am right now and they're just starting. And I'm like, that took me a decade to build this. I didn't just
Yeah.
start speaking on stages, teaching in mastermind groups, seven figures. I teach people this because I obtained it. I didn't just start teaching there. When I started, it was, what are you tolerating in your life? And I started with the basics of what it is. And I still, you have to keep it simple, and I think we get overwhelmed in this too. We want to coach all the 10 years and we get overwhelmed. We can get overwhelmed with where someone is in this process. So you've got to keep it
Mm-hmm.
very simple and stay core on what it is they need and want and desire, because everyone desires something different. If someone is desiring more money and that's what they're in this, I'm like, I'm not sure I would get into this business just for
Not for
money.
money. No.
It just, yeah, you can make a lot of money, but it's because your passion is here. Money is just
Yes.
money's source, and it follows one thing: authority, people, and and that is going to follow you if you're in your passion and you are aligned in that. If you are not aligned, money's going to like dance all around you, and you're going to get very frustrated, and you're going to start recreating and recreating. We see it out there all the time. People are moving,
Yeah.
relaunching, reinventing. You're like, woo, that's a lot. And I'm like, just be still, sit with yourself, be still.
Be still through the things that are uncomfortable and just
Yeah.
and be still and trust. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes people, like I just worked with somebody around her messaging and her branding and her
Mm,
website.
yeah.
And one of the things that came up for her is that when I really reframed her business and I rewrote all of her stuff, she was like, but it's so simple. That's what she said. And I was like, but it's allowed to be simple. I was like, you
Yeah.
want it to be, you want
Oh,
people to
you want
know,
it simple.
you want it simple. You don't
Even
want all
when,
these
yeah.
science words.
Do you know, it's so incredible. No matter what I have done in my life, whether I was a top lobbyist breaking sales records, I rewrote their script and I kept it simple. And
Yeah.
then I took that over into the business model of Cauliflower Foods. Keep it simple were our t-shirts, four fresh ingredients. It was the first ready-made pizza crust, cauliflower pizza crust on the market. It was
That's
keep it
cool.
simple. And you know what? When things get complicated in my business, I go back to keep it simple. Keep it simple. You don't have to put everything you know out there.
Hmm.
Everything is energy, everything is vibration. You're going to meet the right people if you stay aligned with the simplicity of what it is you're teaching and where people want to go. It isn't that complicated. People want
No.
joy, happiness, expansion, heart-centered actions, or are they really trapped in that ego energy and they're really blocked by that terror barrier of stepping into this big authentic self instead of,
Well,
yeah,
it's that ego
ego.
thing that you're
Yeah.
talking about. Isn't that the same
It's a
thing
business
that's like,
blocker. It's a business, it's a money blocker, business blocker.
yes.
Yeah, nothing's going to block you more than your ego. It's going to keep you in the bind, worry, doubt, fear. You're not enough. You're not doing enough. You got to do more.
Hmm.
And that's just stories. That's just your subconscious creating all this muck. And it's magnificent because it's 95% of who we are is our subconscious, what we've created. So creating a new belief system, there's the work. There's where it starts.
Yeah.
New stories and on repetition. New story, keep it simple. Every day, wake up in the mirror. What do you need from me today, Dana? Every day. I was up at 3 a.m. this morning. We talked a little bit about that. First thing I do, I walk into the bathroom before I even brush my teeth. What do you need from me today, Dana? Can we keep it simple? Okay, that's a great idea. It's
Yeah.
Friday. It's Friday. Just had some dental work done. My mouth is still swollen, and I'm drooling
You
a little.
can't tell it all. You
I
look so
really?
good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's like, oh,
Yes.
it's starting to drool, but it's like just keep it simple. Get through this and then
Mm,
take on the next and then take on the next. And that's how I get people say, how do you get through these days?
yes.
At your age. And I'm like, what does that mean? But yeah,
Rough.
it's like I get up and it's a beautiful day and I can't wait to go out and walk. And then I start my day. But it's all about keeping it in rhythm and it feels really aligned, you know?
No, and I think there's so much that just came into my head that I want to talk to you about. I think specifically, though, the idea of checking in with yourself in a
Yeah.
very real way. Like if
Yeah.
I sat down and I said, Liz, what do you need? I'd be like, she needs a hug, like for sure. She needs to sit
Yeah.
down and hug
Yeah.
her dog.
Yeah.
But like it's almost like sometimes well, we never do that, Dana. Like we
No.
never
Well, we don't, yeah, we
do
want
that.
to, but we think, well,
Yes.
how is that growing my business? So people
Hmm.
in the busy work, they want to stay really busy all day
Yeah.
long. I'm building, building, busy, busy. I hear this every single time someone starts with me. I have so much to do. They don't want to be seen. Busy work
Yeah.
it means to me, I do not want to be seen. I will not
Yeah.
do the things that I need to do to put myself out there. I'm not going to reach
Yeah.
out to a prospective client because I'm uncomfortable. That's too salesy. That no, you're just connecting with another person that you know. Now this
That
is
you know needs you
well, there was a
or
story that
something.
a mentor told me a few years back. He said, Dana, if I walked into a room and I knew and someone had cancer and I knew I had a cure and I could help them, I could save their life. And I'm going to stay quiet because I don't want to be too pitchy. And I'll never forget when he told me that. I thought we have a
That's
job to do.
whoa.
Yeah, we have a job to do.
Yeah.
I help women make money. I help women
Yes.
heal. I help women expand and really step into their authority. And in doing that, like like I look at you, what do you do? I help people build their
Mm.
businesses. You hold the framework for that. But they got to
Mm-hmm.
know who they are when they meet you because if they don't,
100%.
it's going to be your fault. The branding doesn't fit. That's too, no, 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 that doesn't fit. And then they're reinventing themselves. I know I met with plenty of people that have already built 7, 8 websites and they're building another one because it just didn't represent them enough. My website was down for 8 months in reconstruction. And I'm like, I was so busy. I didn't even have time to like launch it. It said launching soon. We pulled it and we were reframeworking everything. That
Right,
went down.
right.
I went to 7 figures that year. That no
Yeah.
one asked, where's your website? Where's your certificates? Where's all the stuff? I'm a
Yeah,
master
yeah.
certified life coach. No one asked me any of that. Energy is everything. You show up, people either
Yes.
connect with you immediately or they don't. It's
Mm-hmm.
that simple. I
No,
don't come
that is
back and say,
huge.
following up with you. I don't do any of that. Like, hey, are you ready to go or not? Because
Yes.
I don't have, I want to help the people that want to show up for themselves. I mean, I had
Yes.
many years where it was misaligned in the beginning where I'm like, what am I doing? I've got tons of clients, but they're not going where I want to take them. And
Yes.
it was because I said yes when I should have said, what, there's a better fit for you somewhere else. I refer out all the time. If I say, you
Yeah.
know what? I think this is what you need. Or you know what? Perhaps this isn't the best fit, maybe down the road, but right now this is where I think you should go. And I think that's really important. And it's a huge part of integrity.
No, and I also think that's also like with my stuff, I would say I have better luck attracting the right people probably because because of how I probably because of my own seriousness about what I do. So when I do get to
Yeah.
talk to people on the phone,
Oh, yeah.
I think they're like, "Oh no, she's real." And
Mhm.
if that scares them, then they hire the $1,500 website person and not the person who's going to
Yeah.
truly
Yeah.
because like I really see you, right? And
Yeah.
I intuit and listen and I do all of those things to create something that reflects you. But if people don't
Mhm.
want to be seen, what you're saying, they would very rarely hire me. Like I would say, I mean, I've worked with a lot of people and I can count on one hand people that hired me before they were ready.
Yeah.
And only because it's so hard to do by accident.
Yeah.
Because of probably
Yeah.
I say all this stuff about visibility because I only want the people that
Yeah.
want to be
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah,
Because
growth is
otherwise,
uncomfortable. Well, they're
yes,
uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable.
yes,
This is an uncomfortable process. There's no way I can make it comfortable for growth. It is uncomfortable.
yes,
The ebbs and flows of that, we just
yeah.
hold the containers for people as they start to expand. And it's so exciting to watch that,
Well,
you know?
yeah, way cool. And
Yeah, very
you
cool.
don't ever miss, do you ever miss your first company or no?
It's so crazy you say that. I've been texting with her this morning. She's in New York with her daughter at a fashion show, and she's got a new company now. And, the company was Cauliflower Foods. And I was out the first 2 years. And I was just, that's crazy. No one's ever asked me that question. But today, I was thinking about all the joy and fun that we had creating. And people
Mm,
forget that, curiosity and creating is what anchors this everything I do. And even in
yeah.
that business, what I miss is the creating, the unknown, that and the
Yeah.
celebrations. We were a really good fit until we weren't, but we've done a lot of healing since then. So, I think once again, that triggered a huge healing opportunity for me and for her too, I think.
What do you think you needed to heal? Do you wrote like what do you when you reflect on that time? Do you know
Oh,
what came
oh yeah.
up?
Oh, absolutely. I had, there's always a core wound, and our core wound will show up as our core fear. And my fear
Hmm.
was abandonment, betrayal, and all of those things. And I was betrayed, and I think that we have to go back to the core source. So I had versions of me, and I teach people this,
Hmm.
how to go back to what age is showing up right now. Is it your 6 year old, your 20-year old, your 40-year old, your 15-year old? Because there are versions that rubbed up against that trauma, my origin of trauma. And then I would be very reactive. It'd be very hard to get me to react to anything these days. I mean, I'm very responsive, very interactive, but I don't react. I
Yeah.
just simply say, "Oh, that's so interesting." I can feel it, like coming up a little bit, but not reactive. I would never react like before.
Yeah.
We were both very
Yeah.
reactive because we both had a very, very similar core wound. I love this person. She's incredible and doing incredible things in the world. But our inner child, both of our inner childs were like, and then, I mean, we loved each
Yeah.
other, but it was also, we provoked each other. And I think
Yeah.
that's important to say.
And to be aware and to be have an awareness around it.
Yeah.
Like I love this idea of
Yeah.
respond, don't like when people say respond, don't react. I'm like the times I react, it's like if a giant spider is on my chest, I will
Yeah.
react every
Well,
time.
that's different than an emotional
Like, but I
reaction.
think
That's like
I'm
a real
I'm
fear.
I'm allowed to.
You're allowed to. Yeah,
I'm allowed to.
there are real fears, but I think that the original that core wound and core fear
Mm,
is why people hide. They
yes.
become reactive, and then the shame game. You've got the worry, doubt, fear that will keep you in the bind, and then it anchors into your stories with shame. And shame will keep you from telling your story. I tell stories that I
Yeah.
would have never have shared. And I was just on stage last week and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I spontaneously dropped in and said, you know what? I didn't click into the little monitor. I said, I'm going to tell you a
Yeah.
story. And I told a story because it was a smaller group than we had originally thought.
Mm,
And that, and I don't know if that was just gave me permission to just go off script, but I did. And I think it's important to connect with people and let them know, man, I see you, I hear you, and I am I am a mentor, but I'm in the same position as you. We are all in this together. We are all
yes.
connected together. We're not soul and separate from anything.
No, and storytelling, I feel like that those are my favorite
Yeah.
moments when I do workshops and stuff, is like when
Yeah.
you get to have a moment where you really share
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that the people listening, it gives them something real that they can connect it to. It makes it
Yeah.
really, it can enrich in everything. But tell me about your book because you have a book too. Does your story
I
come up a
do.
lot in that?
It does. I teach about 14 universal laws. It's right behind me. It's called The Truth Within the Lie. And it's exactly that, the truth that I couldn't see because I was living in my subconscious and I was nurturing the lie. And, so in the book, I tell 14 stories and I give an enormous amount of modalities and universal law you can connect that to heal. And then I give pages on how to heal. And it's a great book. I think it's a
That's
great book. It
awesome.
still goes into number one continually from last year. And I'm like, wow, this is the little book that could. It launched and went out
Oh.
there in 11 categories. And I'm like, wow, it's just like doing so great. And, and I launched it. And then I went and walked the Camino. And people are like, what are you doing? You're not. And I said, no, my book signings don't start till next year, in January and February. And they're now, right now.
Yeah.
But it went to number one. It stayed there in 11 categories. And I went off and walked the Camino and spent a month in Europe, in Spain, in Portugal. And I had a phenomenal time. And it was exactly what I needed. I didn't
Yeah.
need to sit here and push the book and worry about it being this or that. It just did what it needed to do. And I
Yes.
think that we don't allow our lives to ebb and flow as much as we need it to. And what would that look
No.
like? What would that feel like if your life was in flow? instead of hustle, hustle, go, go. I mean, I've had that happen, the hustle, hustle, go, go. Then I got sick, and then I got over
Yeah.
medicated. And I mean, there is, I had the age of wisdom behind me. I've healed a lot and I've gone through an enormous amount to get
Well,
here.
when you think about the hustle and the flow, we just had a guest come on previous to this episode, and she said that money is like a wave, and if we only would trust, it would keep coming in.
Oh,
If we let
absolutely.
go, because
Yeah.
surfers, something
Yeah.
she didn't say, but it like reminds me of it, is like
Yeah.
surfers don't try to change the ocean
Yeah.
so they get a
No.
killer wave.
No,
They ride it.
they ride the wave. Exactly. And
They ride it.
that means I don't react on bad months or,
Hmm.
last week or the week before I was flying to Portland to do a keynote. 2 days before I left, I'm walking down my hallway, getting back to come into to hop on a podcast and teach, and I broke a tooth off. I was biting down so
Oh,
hard, I snapped a tooth off. And I went like
wow.
this, and I'm like, and it was one of my front incisors. And I'm like, what just happened? What just happened? And I went in and had it glued in. And I have a key and I'm flying out for in 48 hours.
Right, right.
I don't react. I sit there and I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need
Yeah.
to do? I have a great dentist. Call your dentist. I got in. I said, is this going to last? He goes, I hope so. Because I couldn't have the surgery until I got back.
Right.
So we glued it back in. And sure enough, I come in the door, I kiss my dog, and the tooth falls out.
It was like, thank you for letting me go now.
Yeah, well, and then it fell out again. And then I went back and then they said,
Yeah.
we're going to bond it in a little tighter this time. So, you know,
Yeah.
and that was the day before I flew out. And
Wow.
I didn't freak out like, oh my God, the world's falling. I did what I had to do. And you just stay in this non-reactive space. Like, what do I need to know? Well, the sky
Hmm.
isn't falling, and I think that my younger self, the sky was falling all the time. There was
Yes.
chaos brain all the time, and I don't care whether I get a $50,000 tax bill, I make $1 million in a month, or a dollar comes in. I'm still going to be grateful for that dollar. I'm going to still stay in this enormous heart-centered activity. I'm going to stay out of my ego of worry, doubt, and fear. And I'm going to keep moving like I know where I'm going because I do.
Hmm.
I trust it. Trust is an invaluable part of this, the trust. You got to trust yourself.
Well, and trust that when you think about this question of where are you going,
Yeah.
do you know where you're going, or do you have like, is it more because if you think about full trust, is full trust like, I know I'm going the right way as long as I'm following this, my purpose a bit,
Yeah.
or
Or
where
like
do
my
you think
guy.
it's coming from? Yeah.
Well, I think that, the word manifest is thrown out there a lot. I'm going to
Yeah.
manifest it. You got it, in order to manifest, you have to have a belief. And I have a chapter on manifesting. You have to believe. You have to see it already to be true. It has to be true already to step into the field of play. And the field of play is where we plant all of our spiritual seeds, our wants. I want this, and I want to be a millionaire. Or they can say, I just want to make $2,000 a month. Whatever they want, boom, because our thoughts run our life. Everything I'm
Yes.
thinking, so I always ask someone when they come to me, I said, what is your most dominant thought? Are you aware of your most dominant thought? Well, yeah, I think about this all the time. Or like, no, let me think about that. It's usually the first thing you think about when you wake up in the morning. It's your biggest worry, your fear. I'm not going
Yeah.
to have enough money. I'm going to be homeless. Whatever that big fear is in your life is your most dominant emotion that is running your day. And if
Yikes.
your biggest fear is I'm never going to make any money and I don't know how I'm going to make this work, but I'm going to keep being working really, really hard because your belief system says that in order to make money, you have to work really hard. So you're
Hmm.
working really hard because you're feeding a belief system, and you have to create a new belief, which is money is source. That's all money is.
Yes.
And it follows one thing, authority. If you feel like you're the authority because you've already claimed it, I know where I'm
Yes.
going because I'm holding that. I see it already to be true. So there's my belief. And my faith in the
Hmm.
belief is what I attach everything to. So that means my thoughts every day. I do the practices. This is where the mantras comes in, where we do mantras,
Yeah.
every day, after I do what do you need from me today? Then it's like, before that, I wake up, my eyes aren't even open. All is well in my world. I am safe. I am loved. I am protected. I'm abundant. All my needs are going to be met at my highest level. And I say that every day, a version that
Oh, that
so
guy just
funny.
gave me all tinglies
Yeah.
when you said it because I'm like, oh, how good that feels.
Yeah.
I used to do remember well, you probably do them incantations where
Yeah.
you like yell in the
Yeah.
car. I used to
Yeah.
do it in the car and I would just yell the thing
Yeah.
that I was
Yeah.
claiming, right? The
Yeah.
claiming. You're laying your claim.
Yeah.
And it works. That stuff really, people act like it's silly because you feel silly sometimes when you
Yeah.
do it, but if you get into the practice, it's part of your muscle memory.
Exactly. There was a book
No?
that changed absolutely. It's your muscle memory. It's just like building a muscle, like lifting weights. You start to build
Yeah.
muscle. This is your mental health muscle. This is
Yes.
this is your abundance muscle. This is
Mm.
your, everything is energy and everything vibrates. And I have to look at people. I can tell instantly when someone shows up what where they're vibrating because their energy precedes them.
Yeah.
And we had a little glitch in the show where we went off and we came back on, and I just stayed here and answered a couple of and then boom, you came back. There was no,
Yeah.
oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Oh, is she going to come back? Should I leave? Should I go? It's just like be still, and it'll work its way out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No,
And
and
then
it's true.
yeah, just sip
I
my
think we're
tea
never
and
we keep doing this thing where we're trying,
yeah,
and I just wish
yeah,
people would
yeah,
stop that a little. I mean,
yeah.
like there you got to do some level of creating
Well,
so
yeah,
then
be
something
curious and
exists.
be curious and create. But
Yes.
but you don't have to work hard for everything. In fact, the older I get, the more I know that I'm attracting everything by my thoughts.
Yes.
Everything in my life I have attracted. And that means good and bad. And I don't judge the good and the bad because everything is working for me every day. Because I
Mm.
say, what do I need to know? I get a huge tax bill. Whoa, I made that much money that I created. Wow, what do I need to know?
That's what I got last year. Or
Yeah,
last year I made so much more and I was so
yeah,
busy. Like I was just living.
yeah,
And then like at the end
yeah.
of the year she was like, "Oh, you owe a lot." And I was like, "What happened?" She's like,
Yeah.
"Didn't you notice all the extra money?" And I
Yeah.
was like, "Not really." Like
Yeah.
I was just living.
I was just living.
No?
I love that. No, I love that. People say, "Do you check in on your on what you anticipate?" No, I don't do that. I said, I'm sure a lot of people will gauge and that maybe that works for them, but that
Hmm.
isn't my flow and my rhythm.
It's not for me
I yeah,
either.
yeah, I know what and I also know what feels like avoidance. But I look at and in this universe, everything is working for us.
Mm.
If my car breaks down, I'm on the way to the airport. I'm not meant to get on that flight.
Yeah.
Everything is working for me. I'm going to do all I can to call AAA and or call my Range Rover dealership. I mean, I'm so doubled down. I get help in 15 minutes.
Right.
But if it doesn't happen and there's a series of events that prevent me from going, I'm not
Like you're
meant
not supposed to be there.
I'm not supposed to be there. So there's no
Yeah.
sky is ever falling. It's like everything is supporting me. Everything
Yes.
is where I need to be.
Yes. Oh gosh, that just made me feel so safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need that reminder, and I think we all need
Yeah.
that reminder
Yeah.
because I think even the most self-aware business owner, right? Like I consider myself pretty self-aware. I mean,
Yeah.
self-aware in that I can catch myself sometimes if I do the, oh gosh, Chicken
Yeah.
Little trap, right? Like I
Yeah.
can stop myself and be like, no, we're actually safe. We're in a house. We have our, our family, and that's your dog, and that's your
Yeah.
baby, and everything's okay. And like,
Yeah.
and I can stop myself. But like, your energy is so like I'm so excited to be in your energy, Dana,
Oh,
because
thank
I
you.
can vibe that like I needed that.
Yeah.
I know that my energy needed yours to say, Liz, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're
Exactly.
doing great.
Yeah.
Keep
And, and
going. But
and
you're
should we
doing great.
should we give everyone that message? Hey, you're okay.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong. You're
There's
okay. You're
nothing
exactly where
wrong.
you need to be. And then you just ask better questions. And I think that if we
Yeah.
ask better
Oh,
questions, we get the answers that move us forward. But if we're asking the same questions out of worry, doubt, and fear, you're in the
yeah.
bind and you have to identify that. So you have to be a master detective
Yeah.
in your life and on you. And this is where I say universal law of cause and effect. You are first cause. You come
Yes.
first. You must
Yes.
know who you are and what motivates you and to show up in the world. If you're
Yes.
super reactive and you're yelling at your kids, and I mean, I know this because I was super reactive and yelling at my kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I can go back and hide from all the shame, or I can write about it and devote a book to
Yes.
my children. And I've changed my life and I show up every day for them. Now they're grown women. Um, and one of them is your age. And I think about
Yeah.
this and I think I show up and now they see now they're safe with me because they weren't safe with me yelling and reactive and a
Mm-hmm.
perfectionist. And I was all those things. I was all
Yeah.
those things and enormous shame. But I think
Yeah.
that when we take the most wounded parts of ourselves and we heal that
A hundred percent.
and we pay that forward and we talk to other women about it, it gives them permission to forgive themselves too.
Yes, because no one is perfect, and I think
Yeah.
we sometimes will see. optics, right,
Yeah.
of social media or other business
Yeah.
owners. And I think that can be, if comparison is
Yeah.
absolutely the thief of stepping in and owning who you're supposed to be because you're
Perfection
too worried.
paralysis. Yeah, perfection
Yes.
paralysis. I mean, it will literally paralyze you from
Hmm.
doing what you need to do or asking the questions, what you need in the mirror. What do you need from me today? You're gonna, oh, let me go out there. I already started my day up by scrolling, and they call it doom
Yeah.
scrolling, but I call it,
Yeah.
perfection paralysis. You're out there, you are gauging yourself on
All the
someone
time.
else's journey that, and I've done this long enough to know how people project out there. Fake it till you make it is one thing. Owning the vision before you step into it is important. But you've got
Mm.
imposters out there. We've got imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And then you have true imposters out there that are projecting, and you're gauging yourself against someone that isn't telling the truth.
But
They're
yeah,
wanting
that's
to be
that thing.
something that they, yeah. And I know this because I teach a lot of them. And it's like, meet yourself where you are, call
Yes.
in the women 2 to 3 years behind you, and build your business. That's why it's called
Hmm.
building, foundations. You're building wisdom, you're building knowledge, and keep learning. I'm a student of this universe forever. I'm
Same.
always learning. I'm always putting myself in rooms of expansion, or it's rubbing up against me. And one I just went to and made me a little crazy. And I'm like, it triggered some old stuff. And I'm
Yes.
like, hey, what do you need to know? What's unhealed here? Because, and I went back to some things that I dealt with years ago, like 30 years ago. And it was like when I was a lobbyist, and I'm like, wow, that's incredible that that room provoked that in me. But it did.
Mm.
It did.
Like the stuff that can still pipe in.
Yeah.
And even if you
Yeah.
think you've like I
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
all of
Oh,
our
yeah.
core stories, right? They
Yeah.
still like have moments where they
Yeah.
speak up and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh, sit down."
Yeah. Well,
You're
and
like,
and
"I
that's
don't need you right now."
and that's exactly, you can say that out loud. Oh my gosh, that pink chair back there
Yes.
used to be up here, and my inner child, whoever's provoked, and I used to talk to her. Do you trust me? Because she
Mm.
needs to trust me. There are
Yes.
versions of me that didn't trust, felt betrayed. And now I don't have that conversation with her because we've integrated. We've integrated.
Mm.
There is trust. I mean, I am a total alignment of trust. But years, she would show up and be frightened, about scarcity and lack and money. And I'd be like,
Yeah.
do you trust me? We've cleared those stories up. They weren't real. They weren't even ours. We carry generational stories. Money doesn't
Yeah.
grow on trees. You've got to work hard for your money.
Hmm.
All of those stories, we don't even think about it. We just launch out into the world, and it's almost like a kite with a tail, you know?
Yeah.
We're
It
just flying
is.
around out there like this in the air. We're never going to go any further than that string that we're holding
Yes.
on our stories. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
You
And
never,
and I feel like we have to bring them to awareness and then just to have the reminder of these aren't
yeah,
real. That's
yeah.
not a real thing. But
And you
like it's
can't, yeah, Liz, it's not a
because
real,
we inherit them.
and you cannot shame the versions of you that got you here. You have to love the versions of you that got you here. And that's where the real
Yes.
work is. I really believe. I mean, I would love to hide versions of me, especially when it's triggered by, and who will trigger us the most is our core wounds, is our family.
Yeah.
And I don't react to it anymore. I just simply listen. I'm still, and I'm accountable. And it's like,
Mm.
I hear you, and I'm so sorry. Instead of being defensive, well, that's not true. My stories is this, and because I can't hear their story because there's so much shame attached and pain
Yes.
and pain. I can't stand
Yeah.
their pain, and I have a version of me that doesn't want that to be me.
Yeah.
And I think that when we integrate and we just accept that their version is true too. People have versions that are true too. It may not be our
Yeah.
version, but we just like, oh, I see you, I hear you.
So this is Dana, this has been extremely powerful. I'm about to ask you your last question. And I think for people listening, if they want to start to like what would be a good starting point for this work? I mean, one word that's jumping out at me is the word stillness, because like you keep
Yeah.
saying be still, and I'm just like, whoa, what if I was
Mm.
still? So I
Yeah.
mean, is that a good place for people to start?
Yeah, I love that. I love that question, that last question. What I do, what I have found, the hustle mentality is gone. I won't use slay in my vocabulary. We don't slay anything. I
Right.
literally, in between clients, I see about 8, 9 clients a day. I'm on podcasts. My days are busy. I start at 3 in the morning, but I
Mm.
take time to walk, work out, eat healthy. I go out and look at butterflies. I watch my hummingbird feeders. I stop. I take breaks where I didn't before.
Yeah.
I had to stay really productive to feel my value.
Yeah.
And now the more walks I take, I mean, I took a month off after my book launched. I walked the Camino. I went to Spain. My daughter was 5 months pregnant. I flew her over. We floated in the Mediterranean Sea. We went, we went I flew to Barcelona after walking the Camino. De Santiago flew in and then we went to Mallorca and rented a boat and floated in the sea. I wasn't worried about my book being at number one or da da da. Da.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't have to hustle anywhere. I had to be still and I had to
Mm.
integrate everything that had taken place in order to ground myself and nurture. You have to rest,
Yes.
and I think that it's so important because we have to be regulated. There's deregulated and regulated. I know
Yes.
I was a lot of success deregulated, but it wasn't sustainable. It was crash
No.
and burn like this. And then I would sabotage. So I think that where people can start is be still, listen to your inner voice, not someone else's. Let someone else
Hmm.
inspire you to say, what is it I need today? What do I want today? What
Mm.
am I doing? Why am I doing all this busy work? Is it creating,
Yeah.
how long have I been doing this? Is it creating any momentum? You got to know when to shift gears,
Yes.
and you got to and find a good mentor. Find someone that can inspire you. I just created something called the community. I've never done it before. And right now till May, interestingly enough, I haven't even pitched this yet because
Yeah. Yeah.
it just came out. It's called the community. There's rooms of healing and growth, and I go in there and teach once a month. Right now, there's a founders, you can get in on a founders level, $40 a month.
Oh
I've
my
never,
gosh.
it's like, yeah. And I go in there and I'll be teaching. And I'm shocked at how well it did. It's like 48 hours it launched. And it's like, wow, this must have really been needed. I want women to connect, support. I believe when women say they support women, that you're going to support women, and
Hmm.
that means I give a lot of scholarships away. I do what I do because it really means something to me because this
Yeah.
version of me, I would have loved to have had 20, 30 years ago, even 40 years ago. I would have loved to have had.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and I think that it's important that we do support each other. And so, yeah, I created something called the community. And
That's
yeah,
awesome.
and
Where do
so
we is that on your website?
it is,
Yay.
and or follow me at connect with me out there at the Real Dana Grant. That Instagram is probably where I play the most if I get to. I try to go out there and every day I set the timer for 15 minutes. And I go out there and send as much love as I can to accounts that come up in my feed. And
Yay.
yeah, so I like to listen. I answer my own messages. My team
Yay.
does run it, but it's like I go out there and I want people. If they send me a message, I'm going to hear it.
Yeah. I love that. Oh, Dana, I have all the good tinglies for you. You are awesome. Thank
Hey.
you so much for joining the
Oh,
show today.
thank you, Liz. Thanks for having me.